The Super 25 of North American Big Game was introduced into the GSCO family of slams in 2011. To qualify, Hunter has to have completed the Super 10. After that, any other 15 trophies on the list can be used for the Super 25 level. Now that you know the extreme difficulty in obtaining this milestone, we'll move along to recognize several who've achieved their Super 25s recently. We're pleased to recognize John Colglazier of Texas for achieving his Super 25 milestone. John has hunted extensively over the years and has multiple mule deer to his credit. You saw his desert mule deer from Mexico taken in 2016 first. John has all 4 bears, and his polar bear came in March 2018 in Nunavut. John hunted in Alaska back in November 2020 and scored on a Sitka blacktail deer there. Finally, John reached the Super 25 in September 2022 after taking a woodland caribou in Newfoundland. It was a Shiras moose from Idaho taken in November 2022 that earned North Dakota's Hal Crawford the Super 25. Another great moose from Hal was his Canada moose from British Columbia, taken back in 1998. Moving closer to the present, Hal completed his Grand Slam in 2016 with a fine desert bighorn from Carmen Island, Mexico. One of Hal's most recent Super Slam trophies was a Sitka blacktail deer from Kodiak Island, Alaska, which he took on a hunt back in November 2017. Larry Day of California began his big game hunting journey back in the 1970s in his home state of California. One of his earliest entries was the Columbia blacktail deer that he took in 1976 that you just saw. Larry was on a mission in 2021 and able to take several impressive trophies that year to help earn him the Super 25. In August, he connected on a polar bear in Nunavut. Then in October, he traveled to Newfoundland in pursuit of woodland caribou and scored on a fine bull. Finally, you see Larry with his Sitka blacktail deer from Kodiak Island, Alaska, which he got in November 2021. Next, we call Jeff Damaski of Colorado to the stage to receive his Super 25 milestone. Jeff is actually up to 27 on the Super Slam list after a multi-species hunt in Nunavut he did back in October 2022. There he took a Central Canadian barren ground caribou, a muskox, and polar bear all on the same trip. Jeff has taken some impressive trophies as he makes his way towards the Super Slam, including the great Coos deer from Sonora, Mexico that you see here. We'll finish up by showing you Jeff Shiras moose from Utah, which he got back in 2015. Oklahoma's Leonard Gardner reached number 25 on the Super Slam list in April 2022 after taking a muskox on a hunt in Nunavut. Leonard is a Grand Slammer, and his first North American ram was a doll taken back in 1979. In 1986, Leonard hunted barren ground caribou in Alaska and took a fine bull there. Moving closer to the present, we'll round out tonight's presentation with the fine Thule elk Leonard took in California in August 2020. The only animal standing between Pennsylvania's Anthony Glasso and the Super Slam is the polar bear, but tonight we're pleased to present him with the Super 25 award. Anthony's taken some impressive trophies over the years, and you saw his mountain caribou from NWT first. That bull came in 2012. In 2020, Anthony scored on a Columbia blacktail deer in Oregon, and the following year, he got an exceptional Thule elk in California. One of Anthony's most recent trophies was his Alaska Yukon moose, which he took this past fall in October 2022. Next, we call Dan Kluth of Idaho to the stage to receive his Super 25. Number 25 on the list for Dan was the Alaska Yukon moose he took on a hunt in September 2020 in Alaska. Backing up, Dan scored on a home state pronghorn in September 2008, and in December 2014, he traveled down to Mexico and was successful in taking a Coos deer. Finally, you see Dan here with the Quebec Labrador caribou he got on a hunt in Quebec in September 2016. Longtime GSCO supporter and outfitter Chad Lenz of Alberta spends most of his time in the fall and winter each year, guiding hunters, but still managed to squeeze in some time hunting for himself and is quickly closing in on the Super Slam. But tonight, we'd like to recognize him for achieving his Super 25. You've been seeing some of the animals that got Chad to the Super 25, and they include a mule deer from 2017 and a grizzly bear taken in 2018. Chad's Roosevelt elk was taken in 2020, and he achieved the Super 25 in August 2020 with a barren ground caribou. It was a Thule elk from California that earned Idaho's Jeffrey McMurdy the Super 25 milestone. He took that bull in October 2022. Backing up, Jeff took both an Alaska Yukon moose as well as a mountain caribou on a hunt in September 2016. Finally, for Jeff's presentation here tonight, you see him with the black bear from British Columbia that he got on a hunt in May of 2015. That completes Group 1. One of the earliest North American entries we have from Wyoming's Gary Mefford was a great home state mule deer that he took way back in 1975. Moving closer to the present, Gary traveled to British Columbia in 2016, where he found success on taking a Canada moose. The muskox is up next for Gary, and he took that bull on a hunt in Nunavut in 2017. Gary achieved his Super 25 in September 2021 on a hunt in Alaska, where he took a fine brown bear. William Murphy of Ohio has really been after the North American animals lately, earning him a spot on the Super 25 list. He saw his barren ground caribou first, and he took it in Alaska in September 2019. Another Alaska trophy for William was his Alaska Yukon moose taken in September 2020, and the following October, William added a great Alaska brown bear to his growing Super Slam list. Number 25 on the list for William was a Shiras moose from southern British Columbia, taken in October 2022. It was a Sitka black-tailed deer that earned Tom Niederer of Michigan the Super 25 milestone. He took that buck on Kodiak Island, Alaska, November 2022. Tom holds Grand Slam number 2187, and his Yukon Doll came in August 2019. In September 2020, Tom traveled to Alaska and scored a grizzly bear. And finally, for tonight's presentation, we have Tom's huge Montana bison, which he got in July 2022. Mike Bisaglia of California is up next to receive his Super 25 award. Up first is Mike with his great muskox bull from Nunavut taken in April 2019. Next you see Mike in the Alaska Yukon moose he took in September 2021. And moving along, Mike scored on a home state bison in April 2022, and he reached number 25 on the Super Slam list in August 2022 with a mountain caribou from NWT. Next, let's call California's Rick Roca to the stage to receive his Super 25 award. And we'll begin with the Thule elk he took in his home state in August 2017. Moving along, Rick connected on a polar bear in November 2019 in Nunavut. The woodland caribou is next for Rick, and he got that fine bull in Newfoundland back in October 2021. Number 25 for Rick was his Shiras moose, which he took just 2 months ago in October 2022 to round out his Super 25 presentation here tonight. Number 25 on the Super Slam list for Michael White of Arkansas was a Sitka black-tailed deer from Alaska, which he took just a few weeks ago. Next, you see Michael with another great Alaska trophy, the brown bear that he got back in 2009. Michael is a Grand Slammer, and he achieved that milestone back in December 2013 with this Desert Bighorn from Mexico. Finally, you see Michael with the impressive Thule elk he took on a hunt in California back in August 2021. Next, we call Douglas Wilson up for his Super 25 milestone. He was on a hunt in Alaska back in September 2022, where Doug reached number 25. There he took both a grizzly bear as well as an Alaska Yukon moose. Doug has taken all 3 elk of North America, and we chose his Roosevelt elk from BC, taken in 2017 to show here. Finally, you see Doug and another great BC trophy, a mountain lion, taken in 2018. We now call James Zemer of Wisconsin to the stage for his Super 25 milestone. James has done a lot of hunting over the years and is actually just 1 caribou away from the Super Slam. He saw his bison from South Dakota taken in 2017 first. James has taken several great Rocky Mountain elk, but his 2017 bull was quite impressive. The Shiras moose was next for James. He took that bull in November 2020 in southern British Columbia. To finish up, we just have to show you the big woodland caribou James took on a hunt in Newfoundland back in October 2021. That completes Group 2. Now let's move along to the Archery Super 25 recipients. Montana's Dirk Eddy is up to 28 animals on the Super Slam list, only needing a grizzly bear to achieve that milestone. As for his archery Super 25, Dirk arrowed a great mountain caribou in NWT back in August 2016. Just 2 months later, in October 2016, Dirk scored on an impressive Shiras moose. Moving along, Dirk hunted in Idaho once again in 2019, only this time he was after Rocky Mountain elk and arrowed an excellent bull there. We'll finish up with Dirk's Alaska brown bear, which he took in May 2021. Number 25 on the Super Slam list for bow hunter Dan Evanson of Wisconsin was a muskox taken in Nunavut in September 2022. Next up, you see Dan with the impressive Alaska Yukon moose he arrowed in Alaska in September 2021. Dan connected on big desert mule deer on a hunt in Mexico in December 2021, and we'll finish up Dan's archery Super 25 presentation by showing you his polar bear from Nunavut that he arrowed in May 2022. Our next archery Super 25 holder to recognize is Tom Foss of Alberta. And we'll begin with the mountain caribou Tom took in NWT back in 2009. Moving along, Tom arrowed a Columbia black-tailed deer on a hunt in California in 2011, and he connected on a great desert mule deer on a hunt in Sonora, Mexico. Tom is the only bow hunter to have taken 5 archery Grand Slams, so we'd be remiss by not showcasing a sheep. His most recent ram was a great Yukon Fannin taken in 2022. We're pleased to recognize Ontario's Ray Pastway for finishing his archery Super 25 on a multi-species hunt in California back in August 2022. There he was able to arrow an impressive Thule elk as well as a Columbia black-tailed deer as numbers 24 and 25 on his list. Backing up, you see Ray with the American mountain goat that he arrowed in 2019, and in 2022 he connected on a great Alaska brown bear to round out his presentation here tonight. That concludes our Super 25 awards. Let's give them a big round of applause.